What's up guys, Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. We have a bunch to dive into today. So another day in this bear market, and one thing is certain, we are well into this thing, and every passing day is another day closer for a significant retracement or an actual bull run, bringing us to a new all-time high price for the Bitcoin price chart, but also the total market cap of the crypto asset class. Looking at the length of the last two cycles from the all-time high, it took over 1,000 days for Bitcoin to break into a new all-time high. And the same thing from the 2017 high until Bitcoin broke into a new all-time high price at the end of 2020. So when we're looking at the weekly or monthly time frame on the Bitcoin price chart, we can see when Bitcoin created an all-time high price at each level, also in line with an all-time high of the RSI or momentum and overbought up here at the high, up here at the high, and up here at this first high. Rather than measuring from Bitcoin's all-time high price here and counting the number of days just to get a comparison, I want to consider where the RSI was at its highest level here for the actual peak. So I'm measuring from this first peak in tandem with the RSI at the high because I think we're a lot further into this bear market than people think. If we also compared just over 1,000 days, this would take us into 2024. And even if you use the all-time high and go up to 1,000 days, this would also occur in 2024. And we know historically the last three Bitcoin halvings here, here, and here have led to an all-time high price for Bitcoin. And our next Bitcoin halving date is April of 2024. And looking at the previous two bear markets, this bear market did not have a retracement, essentially a double bottom, and then slowly started creaking and grinding up into an all-time high price. Whereas the last bear market, we saw a large retracement, Bitcoin doing over a 300% increase or over a 4x from the low, providing huge opportunities in the altcoin market. Whereas in the current bear market, we haven't retraced over 300%, we barely even did a 100% move to the upside. So although this current bear market hasn't been any different in terms of length, it isn't anything we haven't seen before, it's a lot more painful, a lot more boring, a lot more grueling. It just seems like the altcoin market has been hit a lot harder than last cycle, where we performed over 3 to even 5 times better for a variety of projects. And I know a lot of people believe we have to wait well after the halving to get any type of retracement, but that's not the case. The last two Bitcoin halvings, Bitcoin saw over 300% retracements beforehand, but this time we only got a 100% retracement. And I personally expected and was wrong. I thought Bitcoin was still going to get up to 35K, even 42K this summer, but we've been just running sideways. And not financial advice, I still strongly believe in the possibility of a very large retracement before the Bitcoin halving, as we saw here 373%, and then also here 345%. And right now we're looking at higher time frames on the monthly and the weekly price chart. We're not speculating on the 4-hour or 30-minute chart for small moves. And looking at where we're at today and comparing the two previous cycles, we could speculate that we're here and we're going to go sideways, have another big crash and liquidation before recovery into an all-time high, or we're actually further ahead and we're up here and we're starting this climb upwards. And looking at today, we've been bouncing between just under 25K to 31K, so we've been in this range for roughly 220 plus days. And through looking at this asset class, looking at the developments, whether you believe we do another crash and this bear market lasts longer, or we get a big move a lot sooner, I believe the Bitcoin price chart and the crypto asset class both create new all-time highs. And we have a great post here by Tokenizer highlighting blockchain consortium side by side. So some of the world's largest organizations are a part of this consortium. Some of them actually have live full production private use cases such as Walmart with Hyperledger. We have Fortune 500s, we have global banks, we have the big four like EY and Deloitte, we have MasterCard, you have Citi, IBM, Microsoft, Google. And all of these blockchain consortiums are building enterprise-grade DLT for global adoption, for global household names, for DLT usage in supply chain, trade finance, healthcare, energy, transportation, identity, and more. And during a bear market, the smartest thing you do is just short everything repeatedly, but eventually this will turn around. Looking at the market cap for all of crypto assets except for Bitcoin, so this is the altcoin market cap. The all-time high was approximately $1.7 trillion. I believe in the future this goes to multiple trillions. And on the weekly time frame, we have large sell-side imbalances that are still open, and we're likely going to touch this in the future once we break out of this range in accumulation. We're at 500 billion today. We have gaps at 700 to 900 to even over 1 trillion again. And even when I'm trying to be pessimistic of us creating another low or ranging sideways longer and being a lot more painful and scary, that doesn't scare me because the big picture is there are networks that will win and we'll get back up here. The longer we range down here, the longer assets are creating new all-time low prices and liquidity is low, the more retail investors lose conviction in this asset class. I remember the sentiment when this asset class is creating new all-time highs here and here, and the sentiment is completely opposite from today. The market sentiment that we have today when altcoins are at all-time low prices is going to be vastly different to when we recover up to higher levels. And knowing that real-world tokenization will only be growing over the coming years, DeFi will be growing, use cases and new industries will be growing, it's hard to imagine the crypto asset class not creating another all-time high price. There are existing funds in the crypto asset class with hundreds of millions of dollars in assets under management. Now there are even more funds in the alternative investment space, which alone is projected to grow to a couple dozen $1 trillion. We know the estimates by the WEF of $24 trillion in trade volume of tokenized markets. We know BCG's estimates of $16 trillion in global illiquid assets being tokenized. The goal is to tokenize 10% of the world's GDP. We're over 100 trillion today, and that number is only going to be growing over the coming years. If we even get 5 to 9%, that is still trillions and trillions of dollars, much more than today. So we might be wrong, and I may even be wrong about the long-term success of specific projects, but I really don't think we're going to be wrong about the crypto asset class as a whole. If we ignored price action in a bear market and simply looked at the developments over the past 5 years. In terms of digital asset infrastructure, custody, DeFi, oracles, cross-chain interoperability, smart contracts, use cases far beyond finance, and even stablecoins for real-time settlement just like Visa leveraging Solana today. It's really hard for me to take a look at the crypto asset class, where it's at today in value, and not expect it to absolutely skyrocket over the coming years. Okay, now let's run through some recent news. So this is shared on NASDAQ. We have this exchange, Deribit, in January 2024 is going to be listing options contracts for more crypto assets, including XRP, Matic, and Solana. And we have shared by Coinbase yesterday. Eligible non-US investors can now trade perpetual futures, having access to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and XRP. And I welcome trading in futures and other markets because it is great liquidity. Remember, of the $6 trillion traded per day in the foreign exchange market, we tend to think that all of that $6 trillion per day in volume is actually banks using it to exchange currencies. In reality, 87% of that entire market is speculation based. So I welcome more derivative trading in the crypto asset class. It is tons of volume. Next up, for Hedera. So we've spoken about Red Swan a good amount. This is a commercial real estate company bringing real world assets on chain to Hedera and tokenizing their assets. They've already tokenized over $5 billion worth of assets, and they're just getting started.
You know, I think that it is the future. It's happening right now. People keep talking about what's going to happen 5 to 10 years from now. It's happening right now. We've tokenized over $5 billion worth of assets. We just had another major assignment in the multi-billion-dollar level, and it's going to continue. Major corporations are calling us. They want to look at their funds. When they were traditionally offering funds that were not in a digital form, they're now looking to digitize those funds because, let's face it, it's much easier for a large institution like BlackRock to not have to pay out redemption to their clients. If you tokenize, they can buy these shares at, like Don said, a price they can afford, but now the redemption is up to the end user to sell their shares on the open exchange. Just is a major game changer for the entire industry. So let's not talk about the future. Let's talk about right now because it's happening today.
So there are billions of dollars in the crypto asset class today. There are funds with hundreds of millions of dollars in assets under management, and there are a lot of Web 2 investors and savvy people building technology to easily on-ramp all these Web 2 people into the Web 3 space. This is going to be a massive opportunity. We know how big angel investing grew and exploded with social media, with Uber, with Airbnb, and places like Silicon Valley, and the same thing is happening today. And if you're serious and interested in being a venture capitalist in the crypto space, not just for tokens, but actual equity in some of these Web3 companies, make sure you're subscribed because we'll be sharing some big opportunities in the future. And we can see Medico, the company or Swiss custodian that Ripple owns 100% of for digital asset custody and infrastructure right here, a publication, Digital Asset Custody Deciphered, in tandem with Deloitte. So we know Ripple is projecting that institutional custody for crypto assets is a $10 trillion business opportunity by 2030. We have Medico, we have State Street, one of the largest in the world, along with the International Security Services Association, so securities will be tokenized in the future. This is really interesting, shared by Santiment. So we have almost $10 billion worth of tethered USDT sitting on exchanges, which is the highest level of buying power for crypto's top stablecoin in approximately 7 months. Since June 13th, these exchanges have seen a 40% increase in available tether. Bitcoin has been stuck in this range between 24,000 to 31,000 for 200 days, just consolidating like a game of ping pong. So we know there's a lot of money out there sitting on the sidelines ready to buy any dips. We have the Casper Labs CTO at the Hyperledger Foundation Member Summit in San Francisco in about 4 days. I don't know about most people, but I absolutely love the fact that Casper Labs is chosen as a technology partner, not just a member of the Hyperledger Foundation and Linux Foundation. IBM, a global company and founding member of this foundation, specifically chose Casper Network out of any other layer 1. And when you see this list of some of the world's largest companies, there is huge opportunity to leverage public chains through hybrid deployments, and there's many other companies here and even blockchain-based companies like Ripple, Hedera, etc. And in a crypto bear market, there are many projects with amazing fundamentals, but they're still sitting at low prices or just falling, including AVAX, we have Cosmos, we have Curve, and Energy Web, just to name a few, and there are dozens and dozens of projects sitting at low prices. And for example, the fundamentals, the partners, the backing, the actual use case for Energy Web token is massive. I don't like to judge a project by its performance during a bear market where markets are dry. I would much rather judge it after seeing its performance during a bull run. We can see by Martini Guy over 500,000 Bitcoin or over $14 billion have left exchanges over the past 12 months. And he says the banks are accumulating. It's banks, it's whales, it's potential custodians. We have all of these crypto trading desks being set up. We have the potential spot ETF for Bitcoin being approved. And in the future, that means even a spot ETF for other crypto projects, including Ethereum. And they all have to be backed by the actual crypto. So 100% agree. And we know that BlackRock was accumulating when Bitcoin was under 20K. These huge funds and custodians want a return on their investment. Now that I'm back home, in the next video, we're going to dive into Casper and specifically cover the virtual machine. And last but not least, we have iTrustCapital linked in the top of this YouTube video description and in the pinned comment. If you use that link to fund your account, you'll get a $100 funding reward. And we can see recently that billionaire Paul Tudor Jones prefers gold and Bitcoin. On CNBC, he said in quotes, "Between Fed rate hikes, a looming recession, and new geopolitical turmoil, Bitcoin is looking especially attractive. The United States is probably in its weakest fiscal position since World War II with debt to GDP at 122%. He also pondered the US's potential approach to a downturn in the bond market, also sharing concerns on global tension, citing the three major flashpoints: the war in Ukraine, the Israel war, and potentially China and Taiwan. There are new geopolitical concerns every single day, debt is soaring, and I would much rather have exposure to the crypto asset class rather than hold the US dollar. And I still hold the US dollar, but I think it's a lot smarter to diversify that between crypto, real estate, and other equities. So be sure to check out the link in the video description to create a free account on iTrustCapital. I've had a Roth IRA in the crypto asset class for about 5 years, and I've been with iTrustCapital since January of 2020, so coming up on 4. Crypto might not be popular during bear markets, but I'm always super happy to have exposure during bull runs, and this is one of my nest eggs as a long-term investment. Hope you guys enjoyed. Huge thanks to all that hit the like button, and I will catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you could hit the like button, let me know your thoughts down below, and my link tree is linked in the top of this YouTube video description, with all links, crypto resources, and discounts. I'll catch you in the next one.